Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel and welcome to this edition of Monday Night Raw Reviews. Yes, I know it's been a while since I did a Raw review, but I am here reviewing Monday Night Raw, the first Monday Night Raw with actual crowds. And you know what? I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not going to say the entire show was good or anything like that. There were definitely still some things I was not very too happy with, or things that I just didn't really understand. But all in all, I thought this was a decent show. I thought this was a decent episode of Raw. I thought this was a nice bit of a step up. A little bit of a step up from the garbage that we have been given. But there was definitely still some garbage. I am not going to straight up kiss WWE's ass here. There was still some garbage here to discuss. So the show kicked off with John Cena making a challenge to Roman Reigns. I don't know why he was challenging Roman Reigns on Raw. He could have just gone to SmackDown and challenged Roman Reigns there. But you know what? It doesn't matter. He'll be going to SmackDown anyway to challenge. He'll be going to SmackDown on Saturday anyway. So then we had our first match. It was Riddle and the Viking Raiders against AJ Styles, Omos, and John Morrison. This was an alright six-man tag. Matt Riddle would grab that water gun, or whatever they bloody call it. The moist gun, or whatever they bloody call the stupid thing. Dripstick, that's what it's called, because it says it here on the website. Riddle grabbed the dripstick and sprayed it on Omos's back, which led to Riddle throwing it to The Miz to make it look like that The Miz was the one that used it. And this led to Omos chasing The Miz. I must say that kind of made me laugh. So yeah, The Miz is a dead man. So the Viking Raiders and Riddle will get the victory with a Viking experience to Johnny Drip Drip. Johnny Drip Drip, and gets pinned for the Uno, Dos, Tres. We had Jackson Ryker versus Elias in a Symphony of Destruction match. God, how many matches have we seen from these guys already? Man, I wish they would just move on. Also, the sound of crickets for Jackson Ryker as he came to the ring. I'm not shocked. Who in their right mind would get out of their seats and cheer for Jackson Ryker? This guy is a total bum. And I don't know why WWE continues to push this man. Jackson Ryker sucks. But overall, the match, I thought the match was decent, not really my favorite match, definitely not. But overall, I thought there was still some cool spots in the matchup overall, and Jackson Ryker would just, people like to complain about 50-50 booking, but if there's one positive about this whole feud with Elias, is that Elias hasn't scored one win over Jackson Ryker. It's basically been Jackson Ryker scoring the victories against this guy every single time. So I guess that's one positive. There's been no 50-50 booking bullshit. It's not like Ryker won one, Elias wins one, and then they settle the score with a third match. It's just been all Jackson Ryker the entire feud, and I hope it's now over. After this match. Then we had the Women's Tag Team Champions Natalya and Tamina taking on the returning Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. We didn't see them last week. But in the end of the match, Shayna Baszler would get pinned after a super kick right to the mush. Tamina and Natalya would win. I am not a fan of Nia's new hair. I'm not a fan of Nia's new hair. Not even her new ring gear. It looks like she went to the dresses and just decided to put on a dress instead of actual ring gear. I preferred her with long hair, but you know what? You know, it is what it is. And also, another thing I want to talk about in this particular match in particular, I find it funny. I'm going to talk about the women's tag team division here for a second. Because you know how Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, you know, split up due to Mandy Rose being traded to Monday Night Raw. And Dana Brooke is now out of action due to being pregnant. So that's now legitimately true. It is now legit true that she's out due to being pregnant. Back when the team of Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke was formed, fans called them a makeshift team. Everyone called them a makeshift team. They're not a real team. Oh, it's just a makeshift tag team. WWE and their typical makeshift tag teams. And then Mandy and Dana break up about a week or so ago, with Mandy Rose appearing on NXT, and then I hear people legitimately complaining that they broke up another tag team. And then I'm hearing people go, "Oh my God, WWE breaking up a good tag team in Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke." Since when did any of you care? Since when did any of you care about Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose being a tag team? Me personally, I liked the tag team, but don't go calling them a makeshift tag team and complain about WWE making tag teams for the tag team division if all you're going to do is complain when they break up that said tag team. They broke them up. People bitched about them breaking up. People bitched about Mandy and Dana breaking up. And I bet all the people that were complaining about Mandy and Dana breaking up didn't give two shits about them as a tag team. The people that complained about them breaking up, I bet they gave zero shits about them as a tag team. But because these fans like to complain about tag teams breaking up, what do you think they wanted to do? What do you think they wanted to have happen between Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler? If your answer is break them up, then you, sir, are correct. No joke. These people wanted Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler to break up. They wanted them to break up. But I guarantee you, if WWE did break them up, the fans would go back to complaining, being all like, "Oh, there goes another great tag team. Screw WWE. They continue to ruin their tag team division. They continue to ruin their women's tag team division by breaking up another good tag team." Sure, Nia and Shayna are not a good tag team. Nia I can, somewhat tolerate. Shayna, not so much. But I just find it funny that people bitch when a tag team breaks up, but then they want these two to break up. But if they did break up, I'm very sure fans would have bitched about Nia and Shayna breaking up, and then that would only leave Tegan and Shotzi left. Jesus Christ, man. These people, man, they're just never satisfied. They want a team to break up, but in reality, if they did break up, they would have bitched about WWE having no teams. So Mustafa Ali and Mansoor, I thought they were tagging up tonight, but I guess that's being saved for next week. They'll be tagging up next week. But back to the Nia and Shayna thing. So after that whole debacle, then Shayna Baszler was pissed about losing again. She was pissed about losing, and then she told Nia to get rid of Reginald, and at first she was defending him, but then she headbutted him, and she headbutted Reginald, and they seemed to walk away from Reginald. But then the 24/7 mob came out, and as soon as the 24/7 mob came out, I knew exactly what was going to happen. Reginald became the new 24/7 IWGP, whatever R-Truth bloody called it. Whatever R-Truth used to bloody call it, but you know what, it doesn't matter. The 24/7 title. Reginald now holds the title. Great. That's exactly what we need. I do not know why WWE continues to have Reginald around. He was never interesting, even from his days with Carmella. He's just never been interesting. But hey, I guess the good news is, I guess the only positive thing now is that he's away from women. I guess that's the only positive that I can really give out of all that. So, you know. So then we had Sheamus battle Humberto Carrillo in a championship contenders match. So I'm guessing if Humberto won, he would have gotten the title shot, but thankfully he didn't. Sheamus would get the victory here with a bro kick. And I constantly hear people whining and complaining about Sheamus, never defending his title like a true champion. Why should he? Why should he? He's been beating everybody that he's been facing. Why should he defend his championship against people that he's been beating? Ricochet, Humberto. Why should he? Why should he? Oh, you got Keith Lee, John Morrison, Damian Priest. You got so many worthy contenders. He's being built up. He's being built up. He's being built up. Because if he gets built up as a dominant champion, and then when someone like a Keith Lee or like a Damian Priest comes along and challenges him and beats him for the title, that's when the title becomes more impactful. That's when it becomes more important. Because this guy's unstoppable, who can beat him? And then when someone like Keith Lee or Damian Priest gets the victory, it'll become more important. You don't have to defend the title every week. You don't have to defend the title every week. Sheamus doesn't have to defend it. As long as he's built up as a dominant champion, and then when the right guy comes along and beats him, that's what's more important. I'm getting very sick and tired of making people think Sheamus is a terrible champion just because he's not defending the title. Yet, I'm pretty sure if it was one of your favorites, I'm pretty sure you would let it slide. So Bobby Lashley did an open challenge. And out came the returning Keith Lee. And unfortunately, Keith Lee was defeated. He got beaten clean with a spear. But, I guess when it comes to Bobby Lashley, I guess you can't beat the guy. But it was great to see Keith back, but I'm not very pleased that he is losing immediately. Hopefully he gets sent over to SmackDown to be with his beautiful wife, Mia Yim, so that way he can have a fresh start. And speaking of superstars that'll be getting fresh starts, Naomi is now on SmackDown. I'm glad to hear about that. Hopefully now she gets put in the storyline with Roman Reigns. Hopefully she joins the bloodline. I'm really hoping, because that would be the best case scenario for Naomi. That would be the best case scenario for her. So after Bobby Lashley, or Bobby Trashley as I like to call him, defeats Keith Lee, we hear that famous song. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Oldberg returns. All the old farts are coming back. All the old farts are crawling out of their retirement beds to come back to have a match. First Edge, then John Cena, and now Oldberg. Well, you know what? At least John Cena doesn't look old. So at least I can tolerate Cena being around. But this is just bullshit. This is just ridiculous. The last time Keith Lee was in the ring he versed Drew McIntyre and out came and then out came Goldberg. And what a coincidence, it happens again. And what a coincidence, it happens again. It's just bullshit. It's just bullshit to see Goldberg come back and get another title shot. I swear. Goldberg is just like Brock Lesnar. If he's coming back, he has to have a title match. Seriously, seriously, like, why is this a part of their contract? Why is it a part of their contract to come back and have a title match? I feel like every match that Goldberg has had since returning to WWE has been a title match, except that one time he versed Dolph Ziggler. It's either been he came back, beat Brock Lesnar, came back, beat Kevin Owens for the Universal title, dropped the Universal title, came back, won the Universal title, and then dropped it to Braun Strowman, came back, got a WWE title shot, went away, and now he's back again, and he's having another WWE title shot. Why does this old fart continue to get title opportunities? I will never understand how this man continues to get title opportunities. Also, there was a segment between Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair earlier on in the show, which I didn't mind the promo, I didn't mind the segment, I thought it was fine. It led up to a rematch between Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair at the end of the show in the main event. So because it was in the main event slot, you kind of knew something was going to happen. And speaking of surprises, we had the debut of the NXT Heavyweight Champion, Doomsday himself, Karrion Kross. Well, if there's one thing we know about Doomsday, it's definitely the fact that he will not be intimidated, and I'm pretty sure he will not be taken seriously after what happened here. This man, now, as you know, I don't pay a whole lot of attention to NXT, but this man, Karrion Kross, from what I've seen and from what I've seen from this man, Karrion Kross has been built up as a dominant monster in NXT for the better part of a year since he arrived, and he's the NXT Heavyweight Champion. He's the NXT Heavyweight Champion, and the first thing you do, yes, it was cool to hear No More Words again. Jeff Hardy brought back No More Words, the old theme of WWE, No More Words. Yes, it was fun. Yes, it was cool to hear No More Words again. Yes, it was cool to hear that song again, because Jeff Hardy said he wouldn't bring the song back until he went back to live crowds. But this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I'm not the biggest fan of Karrion Kross, but this is just straight up ridiculous. First, this guy doesn't come out with the one thing that makes his whole character important, Scarlet. And secondly, you have this man lose his debut match. You have this man losing his debut. Sure, I was shocked. I was legitimately shocked. I was like, surely Karrion Kross is just gonna win this. And I was legitimately shocked that that WWE just had this guy just lose. Yeah, sure, Jeff Hardy had his legs on the ropes. Technically, he cheated. Technically, he didn't win clean. But people are not going to take Karrion seriously. This guy lost his debut. People are not going to take him seriously. That's the issue here. The issue here is that you could have just made this guy the most dominating threat on Raw by just dominating Jeff Hardy. Forget about No More Words. The fact that I felt like this was the only reason why they gave him the victory, just so he could have a nice big win for the return of No More Words. Forget about No More Words. No More Words doesn't mean pin Karrion Kross. Again, as I've said, I'm not really the biggest fan of Karrion Kross either, but I think this is just straight up ridiculous. I think this is straight up ridiculous, and the way that you've done Karrion Kross dirty by taking Scarlett from him, The one thing that makes his whole character interesting and actually makes his damn entrance look good. And secondly, you had him cut a post-match promo after he lost. Yeah, I'm pretty sure people are going to be afraid of Karrion Kross after what he said. I shouldn't be surprised that WWE did this, but for some reason, I had my hopes up. Look, I'm not the biggest fan of Karrion either, but I'm sorry, this should not be happening. Even for a guy that I'm not a big fan of, you basically now made Karrion Kross look like a complete fool. And now, when people tune into NXT tomorrow, people are gonna say, "Oh look, there's that bum that lost to Jeff Hardy on Monday Night Raw." No one's gonna take him seriously on NXT. No one's gonna take him seriously tomorrow. No one's gonna take him seriously tomorrow. No one will. And then in our main event, we had Charlotte Flair defending the Raw Women's title against Rhea Ripley in the main event. Rhea Ripley would win by disqualification. Charlotte would whack Rhea with her title. And Rhea would snap. Rhea Ripley would snap, and then out came the almost a superhero, Nikki Cross. Out comes Nikki Cross, cashes in her briefcase, hits the crossbody off the top rope, and pins Charlotte Flair to become the new Raw Women's Champion. That's how it's done! That's how it's done! That is how you create a new star. That should have been Charlotte last night. That should have been Rhea Ripley. That should have been Rhea Ripley last night. That's what should have happened with Rhea Ripley last night. Beating Charlotte Flair and getting a big victory. That should have been Rhea Ripley last night. I'm very, very happy for Nikki Cross. She deserves it. And a nice big victory for her as well. Her title reign probably won't last long. It'll probably last a week or something like that. Maybe it'll last a couple of weeks. I don't know if she'll make SummerSlam as champion. But now Charlotte Flair has officially made history in WWE. She now has the shortest reign for every single championship. Remember how Sasha Banks was the shortest reigning champion for the total of 8 days? Well, Charlotte Flair has now snapped that record. She snapped it in half like a twig. Shortest reigning Raw Women's Champion for a day. Shortest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion for being about at least 20 so minutes. Shortest reigning NXT Women's Champion of 63 days. And shortest reigning Women's Tag Team Champion with Asuka around about 40 so days. So Charlotte Flair has now holds the record for the shortest reign for every single main roster championship in WWE. So she now holds the record for being the shortest run for every single title. Why couldn't Charlotte Flair do this last night at Money in the Bank? Put over Rhea Ripley? God knows why. God knows why. She put over Nikki Cross here. She put over Nikki Cross in a great fashion. Sure, some people say, well, this technically wasn't really putting her over. It was Rhea Ripley beating up Charlotte to the point where Nikki would take advantage of her. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know why Charlotte couldn't do it last night, but she does it here. And she does it here for Nikki Cross, which Nikki Cross does deserve, by the way. She does deserve this moment. I'm so freaking pissed off at the people that are just shitting on this because people just do not want to enjoy a good moment. I've been saying for the longest time, it's time to give new, fresh faces and a new person a chance at the championship. And that's exactly what WWE is finally doing. They have now given Nikki Cross a chance. Nikki Cross went from being off television for months to come back on television with a new character, and now she's Raw Women's Champion. Congratulations, Nikki Cross. Congratulations. I'm very, very proud of you. I'm very proud of you. Good stuff. And I never thought this woman would be a world champion, but you know what? I'm glad to be wrong. So, overall, outside of, some good highlights, I thought the show was decent. A few good highlights here and there, but you know what? I'm happy with the ending. It was great to see Charlotte Flair, I guess, put over, I guess you could say, with punctuations. Nikki A.S.H. It's nice to see. So, thank you all so much for joining me for this Raw review, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hit that thumbs up. Comment your thoughts and opinions down below. And I will see you all next time.